Good evening, folks, and welcome to FMA Discussion. This is episode 504, and tonight we will be talking about competition and some compare and contrast to the Dog Brothers and WeCap. Nothing against WeCap, but nothing else. Just a good comparison. That's all. And also, we'll be seeing Guru Nick's offerings and what has he got for sale as of late. Folks that might be interested for the upcoming Christmas right around the corner. And so, if you guys, I've heard nothing but wonderful things about his products. I got a pair of his sticks and I was very, very happy with. So hopefully he'll have some nice stuff to show us. But tonight, again, I just wanted to emphasize that this is not going to be picking on WeCap. I don't want folks to think that. We're just using it as a comparison. Far is competition. Okay, so while the Dog Brothers might be a competition as far as awards, first, second place trophies, and etc. However, though, there is an aspect of competition. The man across from you is about to tear your head off. You're going to be competing, right? And maybe you're competing for self. Also, good point that Renee brought up. Why does it irk some of the Dog Brothers when they hear competition? So we'll get that too. But without further ado, here we go. We have the big three, Nick, Renee, and Francisco. And folks, yes, I apologize for running late tonight. Don't mind me. I'm going to throw Francisco right under that bus, man. He messaged us. Hi, Francisco.
Anybody who knows me is not surprised. Trust me. Nobody is surprised.
So, folks, if you're watching, tell us where you're watching from, smash that like button. If you have questions, please put them on the right-hand side. I will be sure to get them. If I don't get to them right away, because maybe they are not in what we're talking about, and I don't want to break the flow. So, but I will get to them. I do jot them down, and I promise you that. So, thanks for coming on, folks. Okay, let's just go right into it. Okay. Why it will I'm going to switch the questions around in order since there's three of you, but why does it irk you guys when you hear, why does it trigger an emotion or a response from you guys when you hear Dog Brothers, gatherings, tribal competition? So let's start with Guru Nick. Does it bother you when you hear that?
Not initially, just because it seems like it's an easy comparison or an easy word to use, but I think not a competition, and it's definitely a competition with yourself for the most part. It's with yourself, but you are competing, but there is just not the usual awards and reasons to do it. It's definitely like an internal quest, if you will, not to get too dramatic, but I would think of it as a tribal event.
Okay. Thank you. Renee, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Nick. We are definitely competing. It's self-competition. Like, it's something that we're really are competing against the people that, I don't know. There's a while there where I would basically just try to get my, I try to fight the people who kind of freak me out, and grow from that. And I guess that's my competition. I was trying to compete with myself to see if I can hang with these guys. I guess what irks me when it comes to anybody talk about competition is like they'll normally say like WeCap competition, Dog Brothers, right? And that's where it kind of irks me because we are very different. And as far as even with what Nick was saying about trophies, I don't see any of us really like looking for that kind of stuff, but it's kind of funny when you see a guy walking off the field and you look at his hand that just got busted up or the bruise, and it's like, hey, this is my trophy I got for this, right? And it's kind of like you admire it. Like I know, like I have an album to some of the injuries I've had, and it's like, man, that was good. Like that was one of those things where I learned a lot from.
No, thank you. Last but not least, Francisco.
So I don't get irked so much when somebody calls it a competition per se, but when the comparison goes to like sports, competitive sports, MMA, kickboxing, that's when I think maybe I just I'm kind of weird. I feel some kind of way, being around for just a little bit, even though I haven't been active. But, you always hear these things at gatherings like, oh, if they didn't have gear, if they didn't have headgear, or if it was a sword. And, these things kind of, maybe they build. And when I hear like comparisons of gatherings to sporting events, it's just like another big misconception to me. I 100% agree that it's a competition of sorts, but it's not a sporting event, and it's not a competition in the quote unquote traditional sense. There's no amateur league. There's no like, I'm going to do this so I can go pro. I'm going to make money off of this. I'm going to walk around and say, oh, I was undefeated at the gatherings. We don't do that. People do not do that.
Okay. You brought up an interesting thing, and I don't want to say his name because I didn't get permission from him. So one of my teachers, and we were talking about Dog Brothers. Wasn't from the sword perspective. It was more from with the different weight classes. The bigger man, if there's equal skill set, the bigger man could have the advantages because he's bigger. He can impose his will, et cetera, et cetera. The gentleman referring to was saying, but if you didn't have gear and you both gave them hardwood sticks, now the smaller guy with a good shot to hand, now he can kind of even the playing field. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. I just found I thought it was somewhat profound, interesting the way he articulated that. I didn't have a dog in the fight.
I agree and disagree about the hand shots.
Okay.
When, I don't know if Nick and Renee agree, but most Dog Brothers, we wear like elbow and knee pads and hand protection, because if we punch you in the face, we don't want to grate our hands. You can take a good shot on the hand even with a heavy stick, and many people have gone with no hand gear. The only people, and you've seen the first generation mask firsthand from Renee, I can see that if we don't have headgear, eyes are a very, very valid argument. But KOs happen. People they close with skill. It's a thing. Hand shots do matter, but you get the thumb, you get the pinky, you get the flat of my hand. I'm probably not going to feel it in what's called the adrenal state. It's weird. When we're just training, you hit my hand. Oh my God, that hurts. It's a good shot. But when you're in a fight mode, there's very few things you feel. And I'm the least tough of tough guys. Anybody can attest to that. But when you have that adrenal state going on, you're not going to feel a lot of stuff.
That's a good point on adrenal state. Again, he was coming more. It wasn't like he was, and by the way, he's a big admirer of the Dog Brothers. He was just bringing up that, it got me thinking. I'm like, okay, so if I have an Ironwood and Renee's across from me growling, do I stand a chance? As he's running across, faking me. So Nick, what do you think about what Francisco was commenting on?
Well, the weapon is what they call the great equalizer, whether it's a knife or a hardwood stick or like let's just say a tire. We both had some sort of height that we could actually move. I mean, that evens the playing field with most sizes. I mean, it's sort of like if you said, let's say you had an apartment, you left someone you loved at the house, and to give them to protect themselves. You didn't have a gun, probably a lead pipe or something, because they have a chance at defending themselves. So it is true. It's just that a lot of the things we were taught at first, it was just the Dog Brothers, and we keep saying Dog Brothers. There were other people that were tough and tested the art. There were people that were warriors that taught us that knew these things. But it's about dispelling myths and kind of just the thing about no judges. And this is kind of where the competition thing irks us, I guess, or the people that were before me, is these judges would say that was a point, or even if there's 4 people and that's a point, so therefore you get something for that point. But it didn't hurt and it didn't stop me so we eliminated that, and we just saw what would happen if we just hit each other for 2 minutes straight. Certain things stopped you and certain things didn't. And there was like a defining list of things, like defanging the snake, that didn't always happen the way we thought it had when we read it in the magazines. And that was kind of
Well
where
said.
the whole thing kind of came from. And it's always changing, like in continuing. Sometimes we get leg shots go in and out of fashion. Sometimes we learn how to hit harder, and they will stop you. It's like you just can't count on it stopping you. I've seen people get hit in the leg and they can't fight anymore. I've seen people get hit in the hand and they can't fight anymore. But 9 times out of 10, that's not the case. So you have to keep going. That's kind of, it's a laboratory. So we're always adding new things into the playbook.
Laboratory, yeah.
I think it depends. I think it depends on how much time you have in. And, I remember the first few times that I stick bought full contact, the first time you get hit in the hand, it's devastating. It's like, like your hand hurts and it's like, oh my God. I remember one time I dislocated my thumb in the middle of a fight and I was like trying to put my thumb back in and the guy was just beating on me. I was overwhelmed. And then there's been times where I got hit in the hand. I knew something was broken and I just switched hands. It was like, I'm in the middle of this thing. I don't have a choice, right? Like I'm not going to give up. So I think it all depends on the stimuli and how many times you have been in that scenario. The first time you're driving on a snowy road and you lose control, you're like, take the wheel, Jesus, right? Like whatever happens. But as the more you drive on that snowy road, you learn how to control when you start skidding, right? So have there been times where I've been hit so hard in the leg that I want to stop? Yeah, I just refuse to give the other person the satisfaction to know that I'm hurt.
Right.
So I think, yes, for someone who's never been hit before or had that kind of, it's like the first time I went to a BJJ class and some guy was choking me and I was like, I can't breathe. Like this.
I would like to see that. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't have laughed.
I was like tapping before it was even on. And then the more classes I took, I was like, you got to put me out because I'm the kind of guy who wants to ride this out now. I want to see what happens. So do I agree with that? Yes. But, if you're talking like real world, like street fight scenario sort of thing, if you're being jumped by 4 guys and you throw one into traffic, the other 3 might go, maybe I might not want to mess with this guy. Unless they're the kind of people who are like, oh, okay, now it's on, so anyways, that's my take.
That's
No.
Did not happen.
Never happened.
Completely made up.
Here's another conversation with somebody else.
Story.
And I didn't agree with this. I didn't agree with this person, but again, I didn't get his permission. And this was a couple of years ago. And his comment was, well, the dog, they're just sitting there trading shots and all this. And I said, I'm like, no, I don't agree. I see some real skill of them closing in and negating somebody's offense to a really solid clinch position to a takedown, nullifying their ability to counter. I said, I go, there's some phenomenal, well-rounded individuals under Dog Brothers that are highly skilled. I said, yeah, you got some bangers, but I've seen watching some of the fights, some real talent. And so I didn't agree with them in that regard. But I'm wondering, though, if there's some folks that easily will just come to that conclusion because they don't want to investigate it or play around with some of the Dog Brothers. No, those guys just, they just trade shots. I'm beyond that. You know what I mean? So,
Are these the same people who watch like a movie fight and say, wow, that looks really good, that's the way it is? Like real fighting is ugly, right? Plain and simple, and that's the way I kind of look at it. There's only one person, as far as I'm concerned, that I've seen that is like poetry in motion, and that's Eric Naus. Like that man, when he fights, it's like poetic. Like it's just like it looks like slow motion. It looks like it's choreographed, but he's beating you at will. But when it comes to real fights, they're ugly. And yeah, if you look beyond the ugliness and you see the skill, that's great. to me, I equate it to kind of like an IPSC match, where these guys are, again, my favorite people on this planet that do the shooting competitions, and they're all behind these targets. And then they think that's some badass, operator. And then you watch like a clip of somebody in a war zone, in a gunfight. There's nothing pretty about it. It's like, like there's reality, and then there's just people who just don't want reality, right? There are people out there who don't want to fight, and I'm cool with that. I'm not saying you should, but don't shit on the people that do, because you have to look at yourself and what you train in.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of times it results in a self-reflection, right? Or something that they're trying to cover a facade, if you will. Francisco, what do you have to say on it? And then we'll swing around and Nick.
I think Nick fights very well. These
okay.
Guru Ben fights. If Guru Ben fights very well, PG Mark fights very well. Like if you want to see like technical stuff, these guys are. I mean, watching when I came back and I see Nick do these little off balancing techniques and the precision that he's hitting you with it. So it's really hard sometimes to be honest with yourself when you see guys like the Dog Brothers and you see a big dude like Eric and he's 6'3", 6'4". It's easy to just say, oh, that guy is big and he swings hard. It's hard to say to yourself, I'm doing this art and I'm just doing the art. I'm not doing the martial. It's tough to be honest with yourself, and it's tough.
True.
It's tough to have I don't know how to say, like, your dad didn't hug you enough, and that's why you're going to go fight on the field. You don't want to get beat up. You want to, whatever your reason for going on the field. Some people can't get on there. It's tough. It's really tough, but I wholeheartedly. It's another thing. Like I was just saying, if it was a sword, if they didn't have gear, people who say that, I'm just talking about people in the tribe who say that we're just guys who hit really hard. I wholeheartedly disagree with. There's so much technique. Look, even Renee, just seeing something like with his Krabi, like just there's so much technique that goes with the fight, and it's just you can see how far you can take it. But sometimes it's hard because you think that you know, but you don't know, and it's hard to say that to yourself.
Can I jump in just for a quick second? When people say, "Oh, it's because they're wearing a mask or gloves or whatever," sometimes your mask comes off.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
The fight's not over.
No.
Your mask is off.
Nope.
You're dealing with it.
Nope.
There's been plenty of times that my mask fell off, and it's not like I wait and look at the guys like, "Can I pick this up?" It's like, "Oh shit."
Yep.
I got to protect this.
Yeah.
It's just a tough game. I'm with Renee. I am not knocking anybody who doesn't go to gathering, but you can't knock us either. You just
absolutely.
And when a lot of us look at Nick, the Academy, Bikini, he's a martial artist. He's not Renee. Going all over the place teaching Krabi, sending me the most vulgar memes also, but we have martial artists. We have lifelong martial artists.
Yeah, 100%.
Mr. Glenn, it's very tough when I hear people who are skilled, and sometimes people that I know that I respect, and I hear people say these type of things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, good points. Nick, what say you on it?
What's that?
What say you?
I mean, on all these things, it's like, I don't know, like it's really hard to get out there. Like I've done it numbers of times, quite a bit, and every time it's hard to get out there. It's uncomfortable. It's something I can make a million excuses why I don't have to, but I do it anyway. I was not, I mean, I'm not the kind of guy that gets in fights, and I'm not the kind of guy, was really bad at that stuff in like high school. I mean, we used to punch each other, get in a lot of fights. I'm from Texas, but they were just friend fights. They weren't like when it really comes to it, it was really hard for me to be like this. I just wanted to be this. I love the Filipino martial arts, and love sparring, and I wanted to be good at this. And I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but I'm comfortable at it. I'm competent at it, but it took a lot of times. I've had my ass handed to me so many times out there. I've had my ribs broken, but I keep doing it because I love it. And I wanted to get a point of competency about it because I didn't think I acted properly in the adrenal state when it was important, and I wanted to make sure I did. And that's part of like being a responsible martial artist, because I teach people, and especially women, and I want to make sure the stuff at least works. So,
That's a great, That's an interesting point.
Well, that's what it comes
about
down
the-
to, right? Like you're teaching people to defend themselves. Like when you start training in that kind of adrenal state, you can make comments out of experience, not comments out of regurgitation, right? Like I can sit there and go, "Hey, yeah, this has happened to me, and this is how I won or lost that situation." Right?
Pull up, we got some here. Let me just hold on, guys. I'm neglecting my my in-house duties of saying hello to folks. We got Brian Mosberg. We got Glenn, David Doherty, Badger Jones. Who's that staff guy in Canada? We got Maynard, Eric O'Brien. We got Jedi Padre or Jed Padre, Andres, Henry, GM Ray, and Eric O'Brien. And we got Stefan fighting with the much. Okay, I'm caught up. Okay. Glenn sent me some questions.
Oh shit!
Very late.
Of course, Mr. Glenn sent you some questions.
I know, and they were very, very. Thank you, Glenn, for sending them very late when I had my outline already done. Thank you. I love that. Okay, let me just see if any of them are within relevant
Nick,
now. I can get them out of the way. Okay, here we go. Let's start. And Nick kind of touched on this. Okay, what made you decide to fight in the Gathering, Francisco? Go.
Yeah, I got Jedi Mind Trick by PG Mark and Porn Dog by Brian John Watanabe Porn. I just did. It just, like, I think it's one of those things. Probably I wanted to, and I was at the academy doing that Saturday class. Brian is still one of my good friends to this day. We talk all the time. He's that guy. I wish that he was a little bit more active. Anyways, I digress. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, okay. I'm an R1 fighter. I'm a raw gym fighter. I have Nick goes from he's from Holy Grounds to Raw to I think it was Powerhouse to back to Holy Grounds. Like Nick is generational. So is Renee. I'm a small time period when I was active, and these guys who've been doing it for 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years, consistently, not taking these breaks, so much respect. It is, like Nick said, it is hard. Like Renee said, it is hard to go out there and go, shit, you want to go? Okay. It's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah.
So anyways, I kind of got Jedi Mind Trick by Brian and PG Mark.
Okay. Nick, you kind of answered it. Well, maybe you didn't, Nick. Well, did you get tricked? Did you?
Let's see what happened. It was some. Let's see. I think it was. I always wanted to do it, and I always liked weapons. So, I think Mark kind of got Crafty Dog kind of got in my head and was like, "Oh, you can do this," or "It's fun," or something. And then I was like, "Oh, too late."
Some BS. It's fun.
Yeah, it's like sparring, or and then you're out there and it's like, "No, it's not."
Running.
Like then you look back, it was behind you, that kind of thing, and you're like, "Uh-oh." So
yeah,
but I wanted to.
All right. Same question, Renee. What made you decide to fight in the Gathering?
I got to give credit to Sled Dog on that. He was teaching at the same camp I was. Like this is going back to '91. It was like a JKD family camp, and they brought him in as a special guest. And he and I have a pretty similar sense of humor, so we kind of hit it off. And just the idea of doing it back then was like, no, this is insane, not happening. And then I kind of, as I mentioned this before, I retired from martial arts, or I thought I was retiring, and in the middle of the night, I just started watching a Dog Brothers video, and 5 minutes later, I'm sending Philip an email saying, "Hey, I want to train." Sent Mark an email saying, "Hey, you should come down here." And I think by about halfway down that bottle, I had signed up for the next gathering. And I went down there, was a bit of a jerk, and then made friends with Nick and the rest of the gang.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Here's his other question. And dude, my questions were 20 minutes early. Oh my God, I should have just 20. My outline is done in the afternoon. All right. Let's swing it around back to Nick. Okay. Nick, what are some of the things you would advise in preparation for a first-time fighter?
Or a cup.
Don't go.
Don't do it. Cardio. Lots of sparring. Just gonna get your confidence up, because if you think about it too much, you can kind of, if you're like similar to me, especially for the first ones, you got to keep sparring because it keeps your mind settled, I think. Also know that you're going to get a lot better. First time you really are kind of just doing it just to say, to get one by, get through one of them. Some people do really well the first time on their first fight, but lots of people don't, just because they let their mind get overwhelm them, and they get kind of the big heavy legs, the adrenal dump, things like that. So let yourself off the hook. But I usually find a lot of sparring helps, and a lot of Brazilian jiu-jitsu I found helped a lot, because you're kind of grinding, and it just makes you tough.
That's a good point. Okay, and definitely on the cardio, right?
Yeah, and they're like, there's a big dude on top of you, just kind of no oxygen, just have to keep going.
Oh my God, yeah, good times. All right, Francisco, what are some things you would advise in preparation for a first-time fighter?
I have nothing to say on this. It'll all be theoretical. I've never put anybody on the field. Nick and Renee Nick has, I don't know, probably put more people on the field than anybody I really personally know. I mean, I did help one person do one gathering, but this is not my expertise. I can just theoretically tell you what I would do,
Okay.
like how I would prepare. It's tough.
Higher and hit that a lot. You have to or you have to go in there with some power.
Yeah. All right, Renee, some of the things you would advise in preparation.
For my first gathering, I was like, I got to get into like some crazy shape. So I went, like, I normally walk around 210, and I went down to a 175 for my first gathering. And I was like running miles and miles and miles every day and just getting myself ready. Then after my first fight, I thought I was in there for 15 minutes, and it was like 1 minute 59. Couldn't breathe. My heart's pounding out of my chest. Absolutely. I couldn't hear people, and that was because of my heart rate. Like my heart was beating so hard I couldn't hear people. But what I realized for me, and what I tell the people that, either the people who haven't been there for a while or the people who are brand new, is just whatever. Like, don't have any expectations. Just go in there and just go. Like, don't think. I remember, I won't mention the guy's name, but I remember I went to a gathering, and the guy, like, he sent me an email, a text message saying, "I'm in town. Can we meet at the park and train?" Like, this is the night before the gathering. And I was like, okay, well, what's yeah? He's like, "What's your game plan?" He's like, "Well, if a guy comes in, I'm gonna sidestep and I'm gonna throw these punches," and I'm like, okay, why don't you, like, swinging angle 1. He's like, well, what's that? I go, listen, dude, let's make this. Let's whatever's in your head right now, just get rid of it. Go in there, fight like an angry monkey, and then whatever you get out of that, work on it. And that's kind of what I tell people to do is definitely have some gas in the gas tank because you'll need that. But get these ideas out of your head that you're going to pull off some special move or whatever. Like, just go in there and like fight like they owe you money. Just go and do it. And for me, like, you know, and again, having had many people who ask me how to get ready, I just say show up and don't worry about the rest of it. Show up, make some friends, listen to the people who've been doing it for a while, stay away from Nick, and then just sit in there and do it.
Take your wallet.
Hey, you need new sticks? Yeah, here, I got these on sale right now.
Those are the wrong.
All right, here's another question. Thanks, Glenn. What is and how did these three guys get their dog names? Francisco.
Oh shit! So, this is my story. This is my story. I'm sticking to it. One day after training at the Raw gym, now Raw, and then now it's called used to be, went to eventually R1. Anyways, after training session, we were sitting there. PG Mark looks at my crotch and he goes, Frankfurter. Frankfurter would be a good name for you. And
Frankfurt.
There you go. That's how I got my name.
So your dog Frankfurt or
Frankfurter, yes.
Frankfurter. Dog Frankfurt.
Like a hot dog.
Gotcha.
And no joke, I was sitting there and I swear he looked at my crotch and he goes, Frankfurter. How about candidate Frankfurter? I was like, I guess. There you go.
So it stuck. Okay. Nick.
What was that, Nick?
Nothing. I'm just teasing.
Oh, I couldn't hear.
So
5 letters.
So Francisco, are you still in the waiting room from last night?
I am, but look, I decorated. Look, I decorated.
Yeah.
It's a little thing my kid made me for Father's Day last year.
Just wondering what's going on over there. All right. So Nick, what was same question was for you as far as your dog name.
So Mark thought it was funny because I was Greek, so he thought I was going to be Euro dog, and as you, the Euro dog, so shut that one down immediately. But I already had it thought out. But because I know that the nicknames that last the longest are the ones you don't want to keep. I picked Pappy Dog. That was my dad's call sign in the Navy. He was a pilot, and I was kind of raised on Pappy Boyington. So, and my last name's Papadakis. So,
oh, neat. Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Can I interject one thing real quick? I didn't know that you could pick your own name. I thought somebody has to pick it for
Somebody
you.
had to sign. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't know. I was just like, oh, okay.
Oh, you would have
So
changed
I was
it,
like,
right?
oh,
right.
shit. I don't think I would not have stayed with
You would
Frank.
have not stuck with Frankfurter. Okay, gotcha. I'm shocked by your name, Renee Growling Dog.
Well,
I just
one day Mark was staring at my crotch, and
Good. Man, if PG watches
one
this,
day he sat at my garage and I started growling at Mark.
so I didn't pick my name. And actually, Cisco in Europe, they don't allow people to pick their names anymore. They pick it for them.
Oh, okay.
So, anyways, long story short, because I feel that my mentor Philip is the guy that kind of brought me to the dance. I reluctantly said to him when I made candidate, I'm like, I want you to pick my name since you brought me here, and I immediately regretted it because I was like, he's gonna say something like ridiculous. Like he's like, do you like Canada Dog? And I was like, no, I don't. I think it was like something like, fuck you, Phil. No, it's not gonna happen. So one day I just got a phone call and he's like, I think I'm gonna call you a Growling Dog. And And it was basically when I asked why, and he kind of said like, because Super Fun Happy Dog doesn't seem to fit the bill. So
Yeah.
so back then, like I guess I was a little aggressive too. So it was like, yeah, why not? I'll go with it. That's like my only tough guy nickname I think I've had.
Growling dog. Okay. Okay. One more question from Glenn. Thank you again, Glenn. Favorite memories from gathering fights or after parties. So,
Sorry, I
Renee,
missed that. Can you say that again?
yeah, so you're gonna be the first. Favorite
Oh,
memories
yeah.
from gathering fights or after parties.
Well, I think when the Canadians when the Canadians started coming back, like when I was going by myself. But when I started bringing some more of my friends with me, it wasn't so much as an app. Well, there's a couple. I'll say one. There is a couple times where we go drinking the night before, and we'd go see Nick's band or something. There's a couple pictures of me at the Go Course gym. I have my shirt on backwards, and I was holding my stick, and I was just holding in the vomit because it was pretty crazy. As far as after,
Something that morning too.
what's that?
Didn't you hit the breakfast buffet before also?
Oh, yeah. Like Pat Gagnon had an omelet, and he just kept putting cheese on it,
Oh,
and that was and then like I was trying to eat my food, and that's when Terry Kutcher was fighting him, and I was trying not to throw up in my mask as I was fighting him because I kept thinking it's gonna look so weird like on video. I take off my mask. It's like,
it goes through
empty
the
it out.
different lines.
Yeah, and as far as like the craziest thing that happened is we had a friend of ours pass away the night before a gathering, so we went out and celebrated his life. And for some reason, we ended up in a Montreal strip joint. And this girl,
For some reason.
and this girl was trying to impress us by the somersaults that she did. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and when I turned around, this girl was doing like multiple somersaults, and she was trying to land on my lap, but she smashed me in the face, and my head broke a mirror behind me. And like everybody's freaking out. Like Randall was like holding the back of my head because blood's coming out, and I was like, honestly, that wasn't sexy. So outside of that, it's been pretty normal.
Okay.
Really, that's
Nick, go ahead. Go ahead.
not that exciting. I'll let's just say there were strippers there just to make it exciting, but no, it's just
No,
it was
we
before
broke into the hotel's somebody broke into the hotel's swimming pool one night.
Oh, yeah. Who could that have been? The furniture ended up in the swimming pool, but was it the Clash or was it the Dog Brother? So we
It was the Weekap guys.
not as exciting, but it is. It was me, JC, Loki, and Benjamin, and we slept outside because I had a carport but it was a backyard, so it really was a leftover carport. So we were able to sleep, but Benjamin decided that he wanted to sleep out under the stars, so he dragged the air mattress out under the stars, and he fell asleep for like 15 minutes. But in California, the dew is so thick, he was drenched in 15 minutes, and it looked like he had jumped in the swimming pool, and it was not romantic an idea as he first thought, sleeping under the stars. It was funny to us, so it's a good gathering.
All right, Francisco. Same question.
I have super vanilla memories. I just like memories of making friends like Brian, like Kuma Dog, even Ivan Raboli, making Mr. Glenn, seeing him become full Dog Brother, making friends with Nick Merchant, having dinner afterwards. One of the gatherings, R.I.P. Guru Vic. Those are my, like, it's just super vanilla for me.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks again, Glenn. All right.
You're on me, so I've got a funny story.
Oh, go ahead.
After that blaze, we went to Toronto for a gathering. Of course, Renee had to flexes Canadian muscle. And it's like fucking 0 degrees out there. And he just shows up in a t-shirt and he's like, hey guys, what's up? And I'm like in like 6 coats, freezing. And he's just like, hey guys, can I get your bags? And he's just like throwing them in the back of the truck. He just like, we all have icicles on our face, but he just won't, he won't jive to the fact that it's freezing. So that was funny, I thought.
All right, let me just see here. I just want to see. He's got a couple more, but I may wait on them. Yeah, I have 100 more. No. Yeah, definitely. Okay. All right, let's get back to topic at hand. Okay. Okay, back to WCAF. So I'll play. Okay, so we kind of established what irks you guys, as far as comparison. What do you guys think of WCAF? I mean, separate from Dog Brothers, like, is there anything value you see? Anything?
100%. I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking it. It's not for me. It's not for me. It was my least favorite thing we did at IMV, but there's a lot of value in training it stamina. There's a lot of value in what it does. It propagates. If you love FMA, WCAF propagates FMA. It might not be in the way that you want it to, but it propagates FMA. If you want to compete, and again, sport style, and you want to go here, regionals, worlds, you have weight classes. WCAF is a great outlet for competition. I don't really have anything negative to say about WCAF.
Definitely the endurance. I mean, if you got to rattle off 500 Corte Cabatas, man, you better be in shape, man.
Yeah.
But it's a hard crossover for me at the same time.
I always think they have a good live hand. Able to trap and manipulate. Mm-hmm. That always looks cool.
I didn't think of that. That's true. Right. They're offhand, right?
Yeah.
All right, Renee, I know you're going to be nothing but complimentary.
The jacket's too hot. Gross.
As long as you know you're doing a sport.
The jacket, I didn't think of that. That jacket's got to be freaking, oh, man, you got to be dying under that thing, huh?
Yeah, and then you have to give it to your buddy.
So, especially if you're in a gymnasium.
That'd be like sharing a gi.
Most people don't have their own WCAF jacket, so you do just, okay.
So it's just getting passed. Oh, man, yeah.
So I think what Dog Brothers is doing right now is an evolution of what WCAF is. And I say that because of the people that started the Dog Brothers were WCAF guys, right? And then when I started thinking about like older martial arts, and Dean and I, we talked about this the other day or today, whenever it was, like you look at old karate compared to the karate that they're doing now, and those guys in the 70s were beating each other up. So there's a part of me which thinks that maybe a long time ago, prior to us knowing, people did what the Dog Brothers did. And then it's like, hey man, I want to do this, but I don't want to get mashed up. So maybe they start putting on some gear, and then it's like, hey, well, that guy's bigger than me. And then it's like, okay, well, maybe we'll do weight classes. And it's like, well, how do I know I win? Well, it's like, well, this is a point. So then it goes away from, hey, I got this combo. I came in, I punched the guy in the face, I dropped him, to like every Abanico is a half point. So if I do 60 Abanicos, I got 30 points. So I think that was kind of in my head. It feels like that's like an evolution that happened. And then there's a bunch of guys that got together and said, this doesn't seem real to me. Like, what can we do? It's like, well, let's start taking all the crap off. And maybe we're, this is like one of those cyclical arts that we are now in the rediscovery, but in the West, where it's like, okay, let's see if this actually works. So who knows? And that's the thing too, is like, I'm seeing things now where people are saying, well, we don't have to go full out in order for us to, pressure test our art. So it's like, okay, let's wear more gear, and we'll only target the hands. And it's like, so I'm seeing like it's almost like WCAF's version 2 is coming out, right? So that's kind of like my interpretation of WCAF. I like it. there's things I don't like about it as far as some of the attitude of the people that I met. Because they'll tell me I'm a fighter and this, that, and the other. It's like, you're an athlete, and I think what you're doing is cool. But again, like for me and the way I grew up and the things that I see, you're not fighting. You're not fighting until you're actually terrified of the person in front of you. Would I be as afraid of fighting any of the top tier fighters in the Dog Brothers now if I'm wearing full body armor and a kimono and that crazy helmet? No, because I know I wouldn't get hurt. If I got to score a point, I come in, come out, and run around for 5 minutes. That's great. But taking all that shit off, to me, like going back to like first gatherings. Remember what was the guy's name? Dog Pound. The guy who's like,
Free.
Yeah, that guy was a menace. He was massive. I remember being on the other side of the gym going, I'm going to go ask that guy to fight. And then as I got closer, he was like massive. I was like, I'm just going to go and get that bottle of water over there. But, I think that's what makes it real for me is the fact that I'm terrified of some of the guys still to this day when I saddle up with them, where I wouldn't if I was point fighting. I think if I want to get someone to get ready for a gathering, maybe like you said, doing a bunch of week half stuff to get your cardio up, absolutely. Just remembering that it's there to build your cardio up. Anyways, that's my long answer.
No, it was good.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, I think the whole aspect of consequence. Right?
You're cutting in and out, Nick.
Well, that's because
we can only see your nose.
I also hold a tournament that is not very dangerous, and the chances, it's basically a glorified pillow fight, but it's a lot of fun and it brings a lot of people together. And so my opinion of those other kinds of tournaments is each one, and this is what I say at my tournament, is they teach certain aspects, they highlight certain aspects of fighting or of competition. Like mine's about getting in, getting out for free. Week half, there's more exchanging, but you may not get hurt because you have the padding on, but they definitely like hit a bunch on the inside. So the tournaments have one good aspect or two good aspects that they bring out in your fighting. But once again, the format, which is the Dog Brothers, for me personally, I find the most satisfying, whatever the fuck that means.
Okay.
I'd just like to interject real quick.
End of diatribe. End rant.
The tournament that Nick does, it's really good. Yeah, it's not a fight, but he encourages a good Largo Mono style, if that's what you want to say. He encourages no exchanges. There's you can keep going. It's a really good format for testing your skills. It's not a fight, but it's a good format. And the other thing that Nick does is he gives out so much good prizes. And it sounds like a funny thing I'm saying, but this encourages people. When people see what you can win, this encourages people to go participate. And then people go participate, and they have this idea of what it is, and then they get there and it isn't. And you have to play a lot cleaner. And if you're into your FMA, Kali, Eskrima, whatever it is, you have to play a lot cleaner and use a lot more skill. And I'm not trying to say that weight calf is not clean. When I'm saying this, it's two different things. You're trying to cut or hit and not get countered. So it's a very skill-based tournament that Nick does. It's a wonderful tournament. The guys that I get to practice with, they look forward to Nick's tournament every year. A lot of people I know look forward to Nick's tournament every year.
Nice. All right.
Yep.
Awesome.
Tournament there. I mean, I think that's it's good cause, really, but bringing a lot of people together in the South Bay, the Cold Steel tournaments were a lot of fun.
Oh, they were off the charts. They were great. Cold Steel was great. I wish they were still. I mean, they're still around, but I wish they still did their tournaments.
There's another thing that we haven't really touched on as well is that WCAF is predominantly, if not all, Filipino martial arts, right? Dog Brothers is not.
Right.
Dog brothers can be it could be Thai arts, Chinese arts, Irish,
HEMA.
Portuguese, like you name it.
Mm-hmm.
There's people who actually have literally become full dogs that I know, but never really formally trained in any Filipino martial arts. And most of the Euros actually that I know don't say that they practice Filipino martial arts. They just fight. They practice stick fighting.
Interesting. So that kind of, I have a question here. We can kind of segue into that. Is so, like, we kind of talked about a test run. We did a show. I think it was me, Maya Powell, Mark Stewart, and Dwight Woods, and it was we were talking about, is there such a thing, Filipino American martial arts?
I have a bench. I have a bookmark right here. I have the transcripts in Monty Paul's book. Look at that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to come up, but just in case, I don't want to be misquoting Mark Stewart or Seafood Dwight.
No. So
I have.
I think I'm. So, but and I thought, like, I thought there was such a thing, and my example was, I thought Dog Brothers could fall under that umbrella, Filipino American martial arts. So what do you guys think?
So there is a great distinction between the Dog Brothers and Dog Brother martial arts. It just is. And you even have, like, Girl Only has his own style, Salty has his own style, and you can't really say that Salty is doing Dog Brother martial arts, but he's a Dog Brother. Eric is the benchmark, but you wouldn't say that Eric teaches Dog Brother martial arts. But if you're talking about Dog Brother martial arts, like PG Mark and Guru Ben, PG Ben's over in Europe, I would say it's a Filipino American martial art.
Yeah, I'm talking about, not so much the fighting aspect, but the art. Yeah, definitely what you're talking about, Francisco, the art aspect and what makes it up. You know what I mean?
I might be the only one here who's like Dog Brother martial arts.
No, I think Nick's a guru in that, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
But, are we talking, we're just talking about overall, not just Dog Brothers, correct? Like, what we do in America? Is that what we're speaking
No, I mean,
I think Guru Dean is referencing Dog Brother.
Yeah, when I was with those guys, we were identifying overall, like, is there such a thing as Filipino American martial arts? And a lot of it we attributed, what was kind of being developed in the academy, et cetera, and there. But yeah, for you guys, the example I was asking was Dog Brothers martial arts.
So like for me, because like I'm at least with Dog Brother martial arts, I'm highly influenced by PG Mark, Inosano Lacoste, Lameko, Bikiti. That's very heavily influenced in DBMA. That's why, like, when Mongtini was on your show, and I know that he's from whatever Lameko is one of the main influences from.
He's really a combo. He was the combo.
The combo uno dos tres. I always wanted to check it out. So I know, like, some of these bits and pieces of many different FMA, but not close to in its totality. That's why I say, like, I do Dog Brother martial arts, and I agree it's a Filipino American martial art.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I mean, matter of fact, when we did that show, we weren't saying one was better than the other, hardly. We were just saying, by virtue of the development of Filipino martial arts that came to America and the different influences upon it, hence some of the creations. But we weren't saying one was better than the other. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I know. I get the distinction from that. I remember. I drive a lot, so I listen to this damn show all the time.
Oh, thanks.
Have you checked out episode 355? It's actually pretty good.
355 is singed in this brain. Singed.
I'm going to say something that's not going to be very popular, which is shocking. But so when it comes to American Filipino martial arts, or whatever you want to call it, I kind of look at it differently. I think that it's like when the Dutch and the Americans started Thai boxing. I think that was the evolution of Thai boxing. It changed it, right? It changed the way it was fought. things got a little bit tighter, things got a little bit cleaner in some ways. The aggression was still there, the elbows and everything else. But I think the evolution of Filipino martial arts happened in the U.S. And I think that's because prior to, again, back in the 90s, when I would talk to people about Filipino martial arts, or if I spoke to someone who was Filipino, they would say, "Are you talking about those reenactors at the park?" And then, the guys in the US who were like, "Okay, how do we make this thing? How do we evolve it?" Or they just didn't even think about it. They just did something that made it evolve. I don't know if groups like the Daw Brothers didn't exist right away, I think that eventually something would have happened that would have been similar. But I think they were the catalyst for that art to evolve into what it is today, at least.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Here we go with this, but I mean, Guru Inosanto saved Filipino martial arts as far much as I can tell, at least in America. It was not.
How many people did he influence?
Was not popular, and it was thanks to him being basically Bruce Lee's student. I mean, we all know that Guru Dan's an amazing talent, a talented coach, a talented guru, all those things. But when it comes to popularity and getting people's attention, it was probably from hanging out with Bruce Lee, because it happened after Bruce Lee died that the FMA craze started. And, of course, I would put Leo Gahe in that as well.
For the East Coast, right? I mean,
you're always going to find somebody that's like, well, my family had an unbroken chain in the Philippines, and we have a family style. But, I would be curious to ask somebody that grew up there, probably probably like 1980, what was going on with them. Maybe it was in PE class. They might have learned it. But usually those folks, I see them do like the five strikes, and then they're done. It'll be like, because I have my sticks. I'll be at a party and a Filipino lady will pick up my sticks or whatever, and she'll do the 5 strikes, and then that's what she learned in PE. But I know
over there, right? Okay.
I know that. I mean, there's unbroken lines and great depth families and things like that. But I would just be curious if we're talking
it's
about.
It's amazing how many family systems came out when people realized they can make money at it, right?
Not going to say anything, but in the last 6 months,
that's a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother podcast.
I'm telling you, and I know it could be pure coincidence, so I don't want anybody misconstruing what I'm saying here, because it could be 100% coincidence.
Oh, we're going to misconstrue it, Gurudeen.
6 months, there have been some systems coming in FMA discussion that I've never, ever heard of. Like, never. You know what I mean? Like, just, and I'm not saying they could have existed. I mean, who knows? But it's just interesting, though. It's been a few of them, and so I don't know. It could be, long lost lineage. Who knows?
There's one system I think is called La Gran Mentira, which is actually pretty good. That means the big lie in Spanish. They're
stupid.
Well, you've heard about my long family Cretan martial arts style that was handed down. Yeah. It's all been stick.
Well, didn't they teach you that at 8 years old, and they had left you out for like 2 or 3 years to fend for yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question for you guys. So maybe for the folks who might not know or watching, as far as the competing, so let's get back to competing from a self lens, and obviously the guy across from you. So tribal versus gathering. So what's the difference? So Nick, what is the difference between tribal versus gathering?
Oh, okay. You're open versus tribal?
Oh, I'm sorry. Open. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Come on, Dean.
It's in the name. Basically, you have to be invited to the tribal, and then anyone can go to the open gathering. That's that. And usually the tribal's 2 days.
So tribal's members only, correct?
Yeah. And it really invites the dog and up.
So you have to at least have a dog tag?
Yeah, or just the dog title, meaning you fought at probably 2 or 3 gatherings.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
I'll say one thing, Dean. Like I think the skill level, obviously, in the tribals is much higher, and they can get pretty intense. But for me, the opens have always been the ones where I'm like a little bit more reluctant because, especially when you're a full dog, it's like you might as well be walking around with a big giant target on your back because everybody's trying to make a name or show, that they can hang. And that's the time where I see the guys in the corner, like they look like Beaker from the Muppets just wanted to fight somebody, right? Like they,
Yeah.
oh, they're like, they can't even talk when they're talking to you. That's how hyped up they are.
Oh my God.
And I've seen some of the bigger injuries that I've seen have been at opens.
Yeah. I mean, how many beginners just like unload? They throw everything in the first 15 seconds and you're like, whoa.
It's
or
so
the
beautiful.
time and then it load on you and you're like, oh geez. You gotta
yeah, you might not like expect it, or maybe it's just something out of that you're used to, you guys are used to seeing, I guess.
There's a full dog that I know that is an amazing fighter, and this guy came to ask him if he could fight him, and like the guy was pretty fit, and my buddy, like I don't want to say his name, but he's a really wicked fighter. I've seen him break a lot of hands in the past, and so I didn't really see his fight, but he came back and he had like waffle face, like his mask was all it like cuts all over his head. And I was like, holy shit, man, what happened? He goes, that motherfucker doesn't hold back. It's just like, he goes, you should fight him. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm right. But like his head, like his mask was like caved in. It was just like, that's like just fear.
Yeah.
Wow. That is.
Are you in a?
I was gonna say, are you in a tanning booth? What's going on?
I didn't do it. I didn't
That's
touch
so
anything.
strange. Wow.
Oh, it's
I
cool.
didn't do it.
It's
Somebody scared me.
In the
I
high.
don't know.
How does that?
A little delight.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I've never had that happen.
I didn't touch any.
Huh? No. I don't.
And I'm also colorblind, so I'm not really sure what we're looking at.
It's like a light purple. I mean, it's purple. Yeah.
Oh,
The background's purple, and you're
very
what
apropos.
you're wearing is
Very
purple.
apropos.
I don't know. It's strange. I've never ever had that happen. Well, so, all right, tribal versus gathering. All right, yeah, Francisco. Anything you want to add?
No, I've never done a tribal. I kind of fell off the earth when they started. I think the first one, the first tribal was 3 days, if I'm not mistaken, right?
2008.
Yeah, and that's when I was getting a divorce and all this stuff, and I was gone for quite a long time. So I was sad, Francisco.
Wait, I thought you went to the one when you and I chatted. I thought that was a tribal you went to.
Yeah.
No, I've never been to tribal.
Is that a tribal?
No, I'm just I've never been. I know for a fact that when everything was being talked about, I was not really. I just kind of disappeared. That's why nobody saw me for a long time.
The last time you fought, I thought was a tribal.
No,
May.
no. Last time I fought was that studio.
No, we fought in the park.
Oh shit! I'm so sorry. You're right. Yes, that was. I fought a couple of years ago.
It was very
sad.
sad.
It was what?
It was very unmemorable, apparently.
No. Well, I'm sorry. Well, I've been gone for a long time. I'm old. I forget stuff. But yeah, the last time I fought was last year, right? Was that last year or the year before?
Tribal, I'm telling you.
It was a tribal.
No.
Yeah, we talked the night before you went.
We had the face paint and everything. It was tribal.
Somebody will correct us. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a tribal because I've never fought 2 days in a row.
I think it was a tribal.
I think you just did one of the days of the two tribal days.
Yeah, I'm aiming for May to be my first
Glenn,
tribal.
that's Glenn. Glenn will know. He's got
Glenn, all right. He's still watching.
It was open. It was
Okay.
definitely the Open. I've come to visit a lot because of Mr. Glenn. I've been around way more often because of Mr. Glenn, but I didn't participate until the Open when you broke my pinky.
Son of a.
Mm. All right, we
Didn't
got
you have or was it Kalani, Poi Dog, that had the pinky? Renee?
Yeah, yeah. He broke my arm and I broke his pinky.
So he
It's a
like
fair trade.
he'd have to drink like a English person, like when he had
Were
coffee.
you there? Remember when he broke his arm and he had a big giant welt in his arm and he's like lined up? So I grabbed his arm and just started squeezing it. I didn't know they had to put like 4 pins in his arm to put his arm together that night. So here I am, like grabbing his arm, go like this.
Not cool. But you
I
had
knew
the
it was broken.
right, and you were like sweating cold sweats the whole way home. Wasn't that?
Yeah, yeah.
That sounds-
That's when Dean patched me up about an hour before I went hopped on an airplane, and I had like 60 pounds worth of gear, and my ulna kept rotating out of place.
Like you clicking? Ugh.
Yeah, like it was. I would grab my arm like this, and I could see like a bone doing like this weird thing. So I went to the bar and I had about 15 shots of Jack and like 5 pints of beer. And within like half an hour, I was just I had to get rid of the pain. And yeah, that was an interesting 22-hour flight home.
Hey guys, I got some more questions from Glenn.
You're on.
Oh, really?
Okay, now he's kind of got him. Okay, Renee, what are the optimal number of beers the night before a gathering?
Well, when I used to drink, it was kind of like you. I think the best way for me to describe that is Wandering Dog, Sean Zerger, for his first gathering. He got off the shuttle and he had to wait 45 minutes to check into his hotel room. And the bar tab was about $250.
Wow.
And then we went out that night to see Nick's band.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty stupid.
Wow. Okay, Nick.
This is when money was at par, so I didn't really care.
Oh, and yeah, okay, the ratio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I wouldn't do that.
Okay. Nick, how
Yes.
much sleep do you need the night before a gathering?
Sleep, huh?
Yes. Glenn wants to know.
Stupid things. But I try to get a full 7 hours if I can, but I don't know. Adrenaline gets you there either way, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It
right.
reminds me of this time, Dean, where I went to LA and someone said, "Hey, just stay at my place, man. I got a futon." And I got there, and it was it wasn't a futon; it was the cushions for some outdoor furniture. And like a pillow, and I kind of used my coat as a blanket. And
The dog.
again, I don't want to say I don't want to say the guy's name, okay? But his initials are Nick. And I'm like, Nick, this is not a futon. He's like, well, it's like a futon. It's like, well, I can't argue there.
Oh my gosh. All right, next question. How long have you been making rattan sticks, Nick?
I have been making rattan sticks for, oh God, I'm old as fuck. I don't even know how old I am. Can we do some math here? It's 1988.
Oh, that's a long time. Oh wow.
Yeah. No one really knew how to do it, and everybody had like little clues, and they would tell me. And then the only guy that I really knew how to do it was a guy named Ricky Riera, and he wouldn't tell me either. He would just give me little clues, and so I had to figure it out and destroy a bunch of sticks. But yeah, since about the 80s, I made some pretty ugly looking sticks in my time.
I think there's a reason why most I'm not saying everybody, but most people get sticks from Pappy.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's fun once to make sticks, and then it's work after that.
Yeah.
It's cool as shit, but it's hard. It's hard work. But
And you're not just doing sticks. I mean, you're doing, staff, and you're doing pretty much, right?
some trainers,
Rattan. It's rattan. Yeah.
staffs, and Cabri Cabrong sticks and
My
canes.
socks. You're making my socks too, right?
My socks.
My
Aluminum trainers.
socks, gloves,
Sparring stuff now. Gloves. Yep.
Uh,
Cozies.
just so you know, rattan doesn't grow straight in the wild. So, yeah, straightening sticks is a pain in the ass.
Wow. How do you, now I'm curious. How do you straighten them?
Heat or steam, and then
Heat or steam? Okay, so you're either getting, okay.
back breaking. I use it over my knee, but some people use a hole in the wood and put it in and do that. But I just do it over my knee because I can have more control. But it
Have you tried putting him on the futon that you have? Because that would straighten him out.
well, you actually ended up crooked, so it doesn't really work, does it? You're like,
You got any of your offerings there, Nick?
I don't really. I've got an elven.
Off staff.
My cousin, that she works at Warner Brothers, so she got me an elven sword because since I do martial arts, I get anything that has gifts. It used to be like everybody gave me Bruce Lee shit, which was pretty cool, but I ended up with all this stuff. And then I got an elven sword now, so
That's gonna be neat, an elven sword. Wow.
What KIL stuff I have? I try to what do I got that's KIL around here? I don't think I've got. I mean, I have to go out to the car, but
Go.
yeah. What do I have? Let's see. Here, talk, Renee, and I'll.
All right, Renee's gonna talk while Nick is looking for some stuff.
So this other time I stayed at Nick's place.
I got a butt. It's not like we didn't get it.
No, we had fun. It just,
We're on some lawn furniture. I'm still perplexed, Francisco, why you are appearing in purple.
I don't know. I was trying to mess around with it myself, but I didn't want to.
No, it's just I
Mess
just
up the
never
stream. I
ever
just kinda went up.
happened. Not, and only just one guest, nonetheless. This is
Right.
wow. Where are the craziest places? Okay, here you go. So Francisco, where are the craziest places that when you go, you went to go see a friend that they lured you in to go train with them? Like, do you have any, what was the craziest place that you ever experienced? You know what I mean?
To go train?
Yeah, you go see a friend and he lures you into an unusual training setting. Any
I've heard stories of people going into basements and recreating a pawn shop scene from Pulp Fiction, but nothing has ever happened like that to me. I've been on the top of an apartment building in Koreatown with people watching us fight, but not in a basement as a pseudo Kali Gimp.
So you would never. Okay, well, that's good because it's it's
it's all about making people comfortable. That's what I think.
I was always wondering why Guru Dean calls you Zed sometimes.
Nick Merchant's here, all right?
But what's funny is that sometimes,
what's up, Nick?
Sometimes people will come to my house and I literally, it's like a snow shovel and I have to move all this stuff like toys and weaponry on the floor. And it's like, all right, let's go. And it's like, what if we trip into this? I'm like, yeah, that'd be great.
It's really, yeah, the environmental training there was one of the best ones, Francisco. You know.
And the thing is, we were down there just chatting, right? It was just one of those, oh, just check out these gloves that I wear, you know, and they're just like, you know, batting gloves. And well, I should try these on.
Yeah, incidentally.
He ended up in leather though.
Yeah, leather.
Chap.
Chaps. That's right. I was wondering. And that harness.
You
That
should
was
have seen
really-
it. Yes. All right, what do you got?
All right, let's see what I got.
We got a cushion from an outdoor chair.
Like I'm not the like. I've got half in a Spadadaga set.
You guys should have just let me go in my car, and 85% of my gear is from Nick. I could have done a better job.
Nick, yeah,
Nick.
yeah.
God, dog, Nick.
I didn't know you were making protective gear as well. That's interesting.
Yeah, mask, gloves, Cabrica Brong stick. That's been the latest jam.
Really? Okay.
Renee's a crew in instructor in Cabrica Brong. This is kind of fun. This came from Thailand.
Look at that.
Hold on.
I may or may not have a pair.
Oh, I got the wrong ones. I'll be right back.
No worries.
This. Hold on.
We'll have to get his website too for
Got my
folks.
stick fighting mask.
I love that.
I like that mask right there. I think it might have been his first tournament out of COVID. There was everybody else has the regular 3-weapon fencing gear for the mask. And this one competitor showed up. He didn't have a mask. So Nick goes, "Hey, can you give this guy that mask?" And the guy looks at the mask and he's looking at everybody else. He's like, "What's this bullshit?"
Oh, it's really thin, like Renee's.
It was because it's that first generation mask, and that's the mask that Nick had to lend out. It wasn't a gathering, but still, everybody else has a good fencing mask, and he's like, "Wait a second, what is this?"
I don't understand how that thing's not stopping from taking decimals off your IQ.
Well, that's why you have to rely on your skills.
I mean,
Those.
I remember the first time I took a face shot wearing that mask, because you're so used to wearing that saber mask, right? Like if you take a headshot, you feel the ringing and you kind of keep going. And the first time, it just felt like I wasn't sure if my cheek had caved in because I felt this like really crazy pressure, and it was the mask that was dented around my face. And I was like, man, that really sucked.
The advantage of that mask is it's like your face. The disadvantage of that mask is it's like your face.
yeah, it's like well put.
The best is if you decide to spray paint it like I did, and the second day, all the little chips of paint are inside your eyes.
Oh my God.
Speaking of, Porn Dog actually put a couple of those dents in that mask. On we used to fight a lot, me and him. And
Horn Dog is one of those guys. Like I want to say it was it might have been Kalani's girlfriend at the time, and Kalani and Porn might have been fighting, and I think she goes, "You're gonna fight that Harry Potter looking guy?"
Hey guys, here's a question why Nick shows his stuff. Do you guys have techniques or go-tos when you're fighting?
I can answer this. So, like in some styles, they like to fight with, you have the angle 1 and you have the angle 2, or some styles that angle 1 or the angle 2. I like to fight with what we call the number 1, which is the Palabok from Chicken Joy, from Jollibee. And I also like to go with the number 2, which is actually the Chicken Joy from Jollibee. And I like to get the gravy and the adobo fried rice much better than the white rice.
Wow.
So if you want to use those techniques, if you want secrets for fighting,
Those
the
are it?
Palabok and the Chicken Joy from Jollibee.
I like the number 5 Roscoe's Go Special. 5 wings,
Oh,
$10.
I know. In some systems, the number
prefer,
5 is the thrust, but chicken and waffles, respect.
Yeah.
Waffles. Oh,
I
that's my
prefer the
favorite.
I prefer KFC over Jollibee, but
Oh, KFC is in Kentucky Fried Chicken or Korean Fried Chicken? Two different things, Renee.
Oh gosh.
I do have two techniques which I've used, and they've only worked a couple times because most people got wise to it. One was fake an injury, so which is awesome because then the person's like, "I got this guy," right? And you run backwards holding your ribs, and like just broken rhythm, and then you can see their confidence, and they start running up, and then you just charge at them, laughing, and it changes. Or one of my all-time favorites
Blind?
was what's that?
When you showed up to that gathering blind, it worked out
My
well.
favorite is I've told the story a million times, but my absolute favorite one was my first gathering at it was the first time they had it at the Powerhouse. And there was that dude the dude with the mohawk that was challenging all like the newbies. And I was standing at the corner, just like waving my stick at like crazy angles.
Oh, I remember
And,
this story when
And
I
he
first
came
heard
up to me and
you.
he's like, "Oh, are you fighting today?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. I watched all these videos," and I was like, just like selling it. And then and then you could see his chest was growing as he was talking to me.
That's the guy you
And
want
then,
running
like,
straight at.
I ran backwards and he
Ran
chased me.
backwards and then
So I ran forward, and I remember I swung like the hardest swing I could, and I saw a mask fly in one direction, and I put my hands up because I didn't know what was happening, and then I see the guy doing the Humpty Dumpty, and he fell, and he was like out cold, and it was funny because it was like the last fight of the gathering, and Mark's like, "Okay, picture time." We like dragged the guy, and you can see him like he's holding on to something. He's like got like the Sammy Davis look. He doesn't. He just like. Yeah, that was good.
oh my
So I
god.
haven't been able to pull that one off again, but that was a fun one.
I'm sorry, Nick. What else you got the show? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that was, that's kind of it. We do rattan,
So what's your website for folks that are watching?
Bloodsport.com.
Bloodsport.com.
Singular.
All right, folks. In fact,
I've been around for a minute, even though I might not have been consistent. Nick makes the best rattan I ever had. I mean, he'll customize it. He's got thick rattan. You know what I'm saying? He's got long rattan. You know what I'm saying?
oh my god,
it's hard. Everybody likes it when it's hard. But it's the best rattan, and it's made for contact, training and contact. It's made for training and contact.
Oh wow, I'm on the website now. Looks awesome.
Yeah, when you around that time when we kind of started, all the sticks were the ones you got in the magazines. They'd explode on contact. Also,
what about I&I? I'm sure you've made trips to I&I. You get that rattan, and you're so excited to be in I&I Sports, which used to be a Southern Cali staple of martial arts supplies. And you're like, oh, and then they just suck. Especially if you're going to use them.
We couldn't get it. It was really hard for us to get rattan, like good rattan. So I was we were using maple dowels.
Oh my god!
Yeah, stupid. And then one of the guys said, "Well, if we wrap it in pipe insulation, it won't hurt as much," which is bullshit. It just it made a different noise when it hit you, right? And we call them musical sticks because everybody you hit sounds differently, right?
Oh.
And you got canes and everything. Wow.
Gurdine, you never been on Nick's site?
No, I'm ashamed to say, but I am right now.
I stay off of Nick's site because I end up buying too much bullshit.
We worked really, really hard to raise the quality and be a consistent supplier. There's nothing worse than when a place is out of something and you're like, ah.
In fact, you know what? I'm going to put this in the comment section while you guys are talking.
God, thank you.
Absolutely. All right. You guys, future plan here. Go, Francisco. Your future. Talk about it. What do you got cooking? What's your goals?
I don't have any goals. I like to practice. I like to train.
Walks in the
I
park.
think my I think my only goal really, besides continuing with my Vilbrel Kali training, is to complete a tribal. I mean, now that I'm kind of back around, and sometimes I feel a little imposter syndrome when people find out that I'm a dog brother, because I feel like a big part in these last 15, 20 years is going out and doing the tribal. It's a big part, and I haven't done one yet. So I hope May
Perfect.
2025.
Great,
Yeah.
great training partners. You have a great team.
I don't have a team. I just have these friends that I get together with. It's
Yeah,
a thing.
That's a team. It's a gang, actually.
Just posted
Collective.
No.
A quorum. A pod.
I hope to meet Renee. I hope to meet Renee like in person, because I've never been in a basement, and you have to try everything once, right?
That's just. I think the basement is just for me, to be honest with you.
Oh, damn it! Gurdine gets all the good shit.
There are different versions of basement. He just experienced one.
So.
But hey,
there is. Oh, sorry. Go.
First, let me just say how when I hear you say imposter syndrome, how much bullshit that is, because you were a dog brother before they started having tribals, before that whole concept came up. So, don't. And listen, I don't give a shit. Like, once someone becomes a dog brother, they've put their time in. Like, no one gets this for free. No, everybody
I understand.
who's put their time in.
True.
Thanks, Renee. But you guys have been flying the flag for the longest time. Like you going to Europe, starting beat the crap out of cancer. Nick, I don't know. It's just that like there's always talks in the tribal. How do we keep furthering the dog brothers? And I'm just like always lurking while you guys are doing things and spreading it. Not just your legs.
Like I said before, maybe we don't. Maybe that's part of the evolution, right? Like you're part of it, and that's the end of it. If you want to keep going, and I said this to some of the guys that are retired, if you want things to keep going, you got to show up whether you're fight or not.
Yeah.
This is true.
You can help out in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, you can sit there, sit in the chair like, man, I was a kid. I ain't wearing those silly gloves.
Looks like what we used to do.
Now I'm going to sit in the chair and go. I'm going to sit in the chair and go.
Just let's go over this way.
If that was a sword, if they weren't wearing head protection.
And Dean, like I said yesterday, like this whole with WeCap, I actually did a WeCap competition. I was only in it for about 3 minutes, but I did. Like, this is going back in the early 90s. So like for me, like I said, I have nothing against those guys, and it's just like we said before. We had that podcast about people who are fighting and sparring. It's like that's what irks me. Like if I have an issue with anything, it's not so much the WeCap stuff that we're chatting about, but when people say that they're sparring and then they're fighting, right? It's like, oh, I'm such a badass. I fought 300 people last year. It's like when I was fighting at gatherings, if I did 6 fights in a year, I was lucky, because I used to get mashed up pretty good.
See, that's the thing. Also, like I don't. It's weird because it is a fight, but we're meeting at a predetermined place to fight. So it's because I don't know. I don't know how to articulate properly that. To me, the gatherings are not competitions.
I think we did pretty well. I mean, the fact that it's just a weird thing.
It's a tough go. It's a tough go. It's a tough go for me to agree that gatherings are sport or competition.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody reasonable thinks that, or anybody that knows anything about the Dog Brothers, right? I mean,
but have you seen some of the old videos of Arlen and Eric and Philip at WeCaf tournaments?
Yeah,
just clips.
They were breaking those sticks on people.
Yeah,
and as a whole completely different way of moving. Oh yeah, they were breaking those sticks with people with body armor.
Here you go. I'll be right back. You guys keep talking. I just got the dogs. I'll be right back.
Finally.
Don't let the dogs out.
There's
Anyways, can you guys believe what he's wearing?
is it the gray sweatpants?
Like, what are we like? God.
When he got up, I didn't know if that was a palm stick or
I almost
talk
gave my
about
dog
Frankfurter. You know what I'm saying,
Hey.
fellas? Talk about Frankfurter.
Name. Did you hear that? I said I almost gave him a dog name. Rise, shrinking dog. It's cold outside, dog.
Here's a funny thought. When we talked about the first gathering, and I remember not like what to do to get ready. I remember like I could not swing a stick. Like, I mean, I could do like the movements from like whatever from the class, but like stopping power, I had none. It was so bad when I look back at it.
I remember for all my gatherings, I could not sleep. I could not sleep. And you know, you try to calm yourself down. You do whatever. In the last one, not the last one at the studio, but the last one with you, I couldn't sleep. You just, because honestly, you just don't know. And you know, I don't sign up for fights like everybody else does. I just show up and I wait for either somebody to ask me or I ask them. So you just can't sleep. The anticipation is what is, it just gets you like, oh,
Sleep tonight, though.
My favorite thing is I think I was fighting Randall, and I swung so hard that I missed him, but I smashed my own leg, my lead leg, where I took the skin off my shin, and it was just like bleeding like a motherfucker. It was just brutal. And I get off the mats, and people are like, "My God, like what happened?" I go, "Yeah, he got me pretty good," and I knew I hit myself. But then, like in the video, you can see me just smashing my own face. And I was like,
he got me pretty good.
Oh, dude. I literally took all the skin off my shin. It was like, I have never experienced that kind of, like embarrassment.
Do you remember? Were y'all there at the Raw gym when that guy was an English guy? He's real tough. Like, I had mounted him, and he was like, had that attitude. Screw you. Like I'm going to keep fighting. So he headbutted me from the bottom, but big buck teeth. He headbutted me and hit me in my two front teeth. I thought my teeth were gone, but his head exploded. Like it was like a knife. Like he had a 2-inch gash in his head and like blood. I've got some pictures of it. His head just exploded in blood, and we had to finish the fight. But I thought I knocked my teeth out.
I'll tell you that the Raw gym was so scary to fight in because
it was loud
it was so small. Because I would go, even though until last year I've never fought at Holy Grounds, we would train there all the time. Open field versus enclosed space. It's getting trapped against the wall, not being able to move. It was really, really the Raw gym was really scary.
Yeah, it felt like you were in like some people get thrown against that door.
Yes,
the pull-up door.
I remember like also Raw gym. I know I did see some like video of the Powerhouse, but Raw gym used to be packed. It used to be packed.
What happened to Temecula when we were fighting? You're literally fighting at the edge of a cliff. I remember getting suplexed and looking over and seeing like down the valley, and I was like, "Is this how I die? Like, is this a stupid way of?"
Remember all that like petrified cow shit that was in there, and like you get thrown down on the ground and you get cut by cow shit.
Honestly, that's where I had like I remember when we fought there, and like we were fighting on gravel and stuff, and like Mark is giving us like, "Oh, here's a rake, and here's like this tool that's soft the ground." And I was like,
"Big rocks out of there."
Yeah, we're just doing the gardening for him. That's all I was saying. Like And then I go back to my class and I'm teaching it. They're like, I don't want to train on the concrete. I was like, fuck you.
Hey guys,
Anyway.
my dogs are going nuts. I'm gonna have to wrap it up.
Okay.
Sorry.
Is that
But
or not funny anymore?
Yeah, no.
no, you're extremely funny. No,
We didn't get a chance to talk about what's it called? Paella? Paete?
Wait, I really think it's
Oh,
because
the bench.
Dean has hair and most of us here don't. So he's tired of talking.
I'm the
about it.
baldest.
No, they're just going nuts, and my wife's not home. So yeah, 3
Dean, I can
dogs.
see your wife in the background off the window.
You were
That's where
supposed
he
to
went
see
just now. This dude just went to his wife and said, "Come in 5 minutes."
Oh
and
my
get me off of this.
No, but also, guys, hey, tons of fun, and I appreciate you guys coming on. It's always great to see you, Nick. I mean, so I'm glad
Good to
you're
see
able to
you.
do it. Yeah.
Next time you're out, let me know. We'll go out.
Oh my God, I would love that. Yeah, I'm definitely coming back out. And you're how far from LA, or you're up above LA, right?
I'm in what they call
He's
the
in
valley,
LA.
so I'm 10 minutes from Hollywood.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Oh
20
yeah,
minutes.
right. You're really close. Yeah. Okay. Oh, awesome.
I'm the
Yeah.
Pope of North Hollywood. I'll take you out.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
He will.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Wow.
And Dean, he's got his really comfortable futon when you stay there.
Yeah. My God. All right, guys. Awesome. But hey, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Cheers.
Those dogs. You hear those damn dogs? Oh my freaking God. All right. Hey, I'll be in touch.
All right.
All right. Say hi to Penelope.
She's just staring at me still. That like for 2 hours. She says,
You seen her staring. God. All right, man. I'll be in touch.
"All right, take care, brother."
All right, folks. And who is next? I got to wrap this up quick. I got 3 dogs that are going nuts because they haven't eaten yet. I got to get Jim Ray, Floral, see what's going new with him. Maya, because she had the new other book out. Mark Medeiros, actually the 20th. That actually should be. Actually, he's going to be on next week. Couldn't think about it. Yeah. Next week for Mark. He's off on it. Yeah. So maybe the 24th or 25th. Mark Medeiros, his new channel, etc. But thanks to all that watched, and I'll see you guys next time.